No! No! No!
Welcome back, Ghost. It's the horror pop extravaganza. Or as they would say in Motel Hell. But we'll get to that. Welcome. This is your first time. Welcome to the horror pop extravaganza, where the macabre meets the mindful. We'd like to bring these two things together to celebrate the awesome art of spooky storytelling, gathering around the campfire, so to speak, and sharing scary stories, trying to scare the crap out of each other. And then we talk about well-being because we could all be a little more well. I don't know if that's right phrasing, but we're going to do it. I am, as always, the host, ghost with the most, Pops Ghostly. And with me today, I have.
I'm going to stop you right there, Pops.
Perfect.
For those folks out there that have been listening since the beginning, you've heard a lot of different co-hosts come onto this show, but I have a big surprise for you. It's been me the whole time, people. Every single one of those crazy voices, names, and whatnot, it's been me the entire time. I don't know why it didn't occur to me before to just use my real name, but I want to be brave. I want to be out there. So I'm going to use my real name from now on in this podcast. My real name is Duke Spooky, which is oddly weird because it kind of goes with the theme of the podcast, but I never thought to use my real name before. So here we are. From now on,
Cannot believe this. This is a milestone. This is a milestone episode.
huge news for, I think, even for new listeners. They're going to be like, wait, what? They're going to have to go back and listen to all those episodes. They're going to be like, I thought that was a different person every single week.
You're telling me this whole time? Same guy?
There's no Nuts McFidley. There's no Dix McFadden.
Knuckle McStinkfist?
All those were not real people. No, it's been your boy Duke Spooky the whole time.
Duke Spooky. I am shocked, but the show must go on.
And it must go. I want to say that we made that joke in the very first episode. Wouldn't it be funny if I came up with a new name for every single episode, and we did it 80 fucking times, but it was starting to wear thin.
And I don't even know how many episodes we're at. Like, I don't look at
We're at 80.
Oh, is this episode 80? Yeah.
This should be episode 80, yes.
Awesome that you maintained for 80 episodes.
I was going to go 100, but you know what? All good things must come to an end.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So Duke Spooky, official member of the Horror Pop Extravaganza. Today we have, after last week was heavy.
Real heavy.
It was heavier subject matter. There's certain horror flicks, and that one, we even kind of argued about how much of it is full horror. But this week, we're going turn of the 70s into the 80s. The excess is starting to show its face. The cocaine-fueled filmmaking is starting to show its face. And we are running so fast into the VHS era. We're getting there. It's like, oh, this is going to be fucking cool, man. And movie making is starting to change. Now, in 1980, there were a few things, little things that came out. You might have heard of a couple of these, like Friday the 13th, The Shining. What else did I have on my list? The Fog, City of the Living Dead. Two Jamie Lee Curtis joints, Prom Night and Terror Train, both came out the same year. Humanoids from the Deep came out that year. And is there anything, I don't know, did you ever see Dress to Kill, the Michael Caine thing?
The only one I know is the Richie Grieco vehicle.
No.
Oh, that's Let's Get Killed. Sorry.
No. This is Dress to Kill, and it is it's crazy. And then you had stuff like The Changing and Cannibal Holocaust. And today is Friday the 13th. Happy Friday the 13th. We are recording on a Friday the 13th. I've been watching Friday the 13th throughout the day. They've just been playing it on a fucking loop on Pluto, and I just turned it down and turned it on, sat in my chair and edited the show that was going to go out today and whatnot. But this, little gem was packaged weird, was reconfigured a couple of times. I think people didn't really know it was going to be funny at first, but rewatching it, I really gave it my attention today. It's been a while since I sat with this movie. I used to watch it a shit ton as a kid. It would come on, like Killer Clowns would come on one Saturday night, and then fucking Motel Hell would come on the next Saturday night, and all these even Invasion, is it Invasion from Mars? I don't know. But the Saturday night kind of fun, not too scary, but this one, if you really pay attention to it, is fucked up on a lot of different levels. It's really kind of strange. But I think it is like this, just let's go, man. Let's go 100%. I've mentioned it a few times, but we are talking about Motel Hell, which I was curious when I was rewatching it because there's this really cool movie I like from a few years before this, Tourist Trap, with Chuck Connors from the fucking Rifleman. This old Western, kind of like Rory Calhoun, who we'll see stars as Farmer Vincent in Motel Hell, had a huge career, all kinds of TV, all kinds of movies, and then kind of faded off. And I wonder if, they saw Tourist Trap, or he's like, well, if Chuck Connors is doing it, I'll do a little, horror thing or something like that. Or maybe these studios were like, hey, let's pull from a stable that we've had for 40, 50 years, whatever the case may be. But Rory Calhoun really shows up in this thing in a lot of fun ways. But before we get into all of the weird amalgamation of nonsense that is Motel Hell, why don't you give us the IMDb, who directed it, who's in it, and what does the Internet Movie Database think this is about?
Yeah, baby. Motel Hell from 1980, rated R, 1 hour and 41 motherfucking minutes of pure splendor.
That was beautiful.
Thank you. This thing's directed by Kevin Connor, written by Robert Haffey and his brother Stephen Charles Haffey.
Nice.
Yeah, those guys. You know those guys.
Right up there with the Coens.
Right up there with the Coens.
Chowskis.
All right. So you had already mentioned Rory Calhoun, just killing it in this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was 57 years old when he made this movie.
Nice.
Yeah. We got Paul Link playing Bruce Smith.
And this is the one I think I read. That was written directly for him. This role was written specifically because he was roommates with like one of the directors or somebody. He was
directors, yeah.
Yeah, he was homies, and they were like, "Yo, dude, if we're gonna fucking do it, I like that too." Like, bro, the people who were there with you, man, who were like, "Put them motherfuckers in there." And some people do it their whole careers. I mean, Rob Zombie's been putting his wife in shit like, "Yo, dude, just this," and she even says like, I don't want to act outside of his movies. I'm just down for this fucking crazy ride," and I get that to an extent. Not to a full extent, but to an extent. You know what I mean? You can't just put everybody in everything, but.
Well, you mentioned the Coens. They used to be roommates with Frances McDormand and Sam Raimi. And they all like fuck around in the same circles and put each other in their stuff.
Which is, I
respect it, dude.
I do too. And I think that's just people creating the right sphere of influence around them. It's knowing who are going to be the people who are going to help elevate you, or who are going to be the people, because people will either pick you up or pull you the fuck down.
Oh yeah, dude. Those people that you lived with in a little shitty apartment, people that you smelled their shit while you were eating, someone that you may have like fought over a pizza crust with.
Yeah.
Like those are the people that are your ride and dies and that you got to put in your movies when you finally make it.
Right. Okay. Continue, please, sir.
Talk about Nancy Parsons as Ida Smith.
Yes.
She's a fucking kook in this.
So reminded me as I was rewatching, I was like, if he had remade this in 1990 and switched the gender roles, Chris Farley could have played Ida. If you really look at the way she acts some of the times, like, oh yeah, how about tubing? We'll go down to the creek, and just very. And I almost loved it. It made me love the character of Ida even more because she is really fucking bonkers. The whole, we'll get there, but the whole thing is this twisted, like let's just splatter all over the American roadside, and what's the most fucked up thing we can do, and we get there in a couple times.
I like to think that the director had to tell her to like, can you please pull it back just a little bit? And that is the performance that we saw on film because
I hope so. I hope.
I hope she was just that outrageous. And we got Nina Axelrod as Terry.
Okay, so she is our young. At first, well, we'll get to her because who knows 100% what her story is.
This one reminded me of my old man, Pop Spooky, because he loves him some Wolfman Jack.
Dude,
And I was listening to Wolfman Jack when I was like little, dude.
really? That's right,
Yeah.
dude.
My
Yeah.
dad loved him some Wolfman Jack.
So that probably made you excited.
My dad's also friends with the guy who draw Ratfink. And so for me, Ratfink and Wolfman Jack kind of go together. Like I
Right.
just picture being in a garage and like the smells and the fucking body parts.
And that boys. Dude, Wolfman Jack is cool, and he plays Reverend so and so.
The fact that he was a reverend, dude, was so cool. And he's totally like, I don't know if this was before or after Jim Jones, but he sure does like pull off Jim Jones vibes.
Absolutely. I don't know either, but he not as nefarious though. You know, like taking the titty magazines and being like, "Oh, oh, I'll take that. Oh, that's glory." Oh, you know, he's not like a cult guy. He's more the well, we see him. He's a TV preacher that's just like, "Send me some money and that'll make you all better." And he's selling these pipe dreams to the audience.
Yeah. And R.I.P. John Ratzenberger's in this.
And
Toy Stories, John Ratzenberger.
oh, there you
Cheers,
go. Yeah,
John Ratzenberger.
there you go. Okay.
We've lost a lot of Toy Story characters now.
Hmm.
Slinky Dog, gone. Hammy, gone.
Just like your real
Buzz
toy.
Lightyear, gone.
They deteriorate, and no, we still got Buzz Lightyear.
I know, fucking around.
Yeah, but continue,
All
please.
right. You ready to hear about what fucking IMDb says this movie's about?
Yes,
All right, here we go. I almost have to put my readers on.
you said that last week, and I think it's going to happen soon.
Shit, dude, it's getting real.
You're just going to have to print it out on a huge piece of paper and put it next to
I'm
you.
like, kid, hold it up behind the computer. Like,
Right.
can't see that shit.
Get a teleprompter.
A seemingly friendly farmer and his sister kidnap unsuspecting travelers and bury them alive, using them to create the special meat they're famous for.
Yes and no,
Right.
because this when you say that when I hear that I think visions of like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and
That's 100%.
this is only a few years removed. You know what
Right.
I mean, from Chainsaw. So what, 6 years is all
It's
you've got?
heavily influenced, though. Come on.
Oh, for sure, everything was, but I don't know when Chainsaw really took off. It had to have been around this time because two dropped a couple years later. However, comma, that just doesn't it gives you a scary vision where I think this is much more animated. It's much more of a cartoon in nature.
And that was done on purpose. They didn't think they'd get their audience if they
Right.
put the comedy into the poster and stuff. So
Yeah, so they made it look all, and that poster was scary as fuck.
fuck
And
yeah, dude.
because it was just him, the image, and I know the picture they're talking about that was on the poster, I think, was him with the pig head on, holding the chainsaw.
Yeah. You
Fuck,
walk through the
dude.
video aisle, dude, and you see that shit.
Yeah,
Judge a book by its cover.
right. And that one's gonna get you.
Yeah.
That one's gonna get you. But it is funny. And I think Toby Hooper wanted the original Chainsaw to be funnier than it was. The more I watch it, the older I get, the funnier I fucking find parts of that movie. I think it's pure comedy genius, dude.
Toby Hooper almost directed this. Did you know that?
I did not. Did he really?
He was the one that like got this movie like picked up from script, and then the studio was like, it's too fucking weird. We want to cut the weird stuff, and he was like, all right, then I'm out. But he brought it to his boys, the Haffey brothers, and they fucking got it made.
Did something made that's cool though. Man, Toby Hooper seems like he was a really cool dude. There
He
was,
kind of had his fingers in everything, dude.
and I think there were stories of his maybe his spouse or caretaker like hurting him and shit at the end of his life. I hope that didn't really happen, but anyway, Motel Hell opens up with now. Oh, before we get there, when did you see this initially? Was it like me in your childhood? Did you come, or you didn't really watch scary shit?
No, you brought this to me, and we did it on my original podcast.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, we did
I
this on
remember that.
not even
Awesome.
Popcorn Promises, dude. It was on Talking Poop, like back in the day.
That's, you're talking probably almost a decade ago in a couple years.
Yeah, man. I mean, it was the 2018 Halloween that like we
Right.
first did a movie together. So it had to have been right after that. It was like the second time we recorded, and I said pick a movie, and you
And I
said
said Motel Hell.
Motel Hell.
So that, to me, your story is a testament to what this movie means to me.
Right.
Because if I was in my basement growing up, man, looking back, we did not have a lot. We didn't have a ton. We had a house full of love. And I think that trumps almost anything we could have had. But we had stuff, we weren't fucking homeless. And we had, video game systems and some DVDs here. But once that, like, I got my first job at 14 and never stopped working. And I would just buy my own shit, I was like, oh, I'm going to buy DVDs and stuff. And I remember always bringing people down and being like, have you seen this? It would be something like this. You know what I mean? It would be something like Motel Hell or Requiem for a Dream or, Cannibal Holocaust, something real, depending on the person. You got to feel them out a little bit. How much can you take? Are you going to leave here thinking I'm going to fucking serial kill you? Because I promise I'm not. I just want to celebrate this art form. But this is one that I shared quite a bit, and I'm glad to hear that I shared it with you in that
Yeah.
way. So have you probably haven't seen it since then?
Just I rewatched it for this, but that
Sure.
was
Yeah. 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 Okay. Cool. So sweet. All right. Let's jump into the 1980 Splatterfest, I guess.
not though.
It's
It's not.
not. Yeah. Mindfuckery. I
It
don't.
mindfuckery. Yeah, yeah. That
I
sounds
think
right.
mindfuckery is about right. So we open up on Farmer Vincent just chilling, Rory Calhoun, and or no, the sign's flickering, and it's just like the Batman Returns sign. Hello,
Yeah.
and this is Motel Hello, but the O is like beep, 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 beep. And we see Rory Calhoun checks on Ida, who's sleeping in front of the television, curled up like a rodent, watching our Wolfman Jack late night, all night preacher show. I don't know if that was the Wolfman Jack one, but there's always a religious background going on. And Farmer Vincent appears to have a strong religious conviction throughout most of this thing, even though his actions, I think a lot of people, that's where they get it wrong, is they have a strong religious conviction, but their actions don't line up with shit about what they talk about. If you're going to have a strong religious conviction, be convicted of it, and live it out. But he checks on her, and then we see him go to the road where he's got a couple of bear traps or road spikes, something like that. I think it's bear traps. Sidecar motorcycle duo comes zooming up out of the darkness, take a hit, tires go everywhere, flip, flip, flop, flop. She gets launched, and we learn that this is Terry. This is the woman who's going to be staying with them at the motel. She goes flying off, and then the boyfriend or husband, whoever this character is knocked loose, and we see somebody, or Farmer Vincent. I think we know it's him right away. We see him, grab onto him and stuff, and then he takes her off into the darkness, and we get some credits, some pretty cool credits. We're starting to see more neon and shit and our credit movement in the credits. It's lining up with that whole mall light era that's about to begin. This is kind of birthing cinematically horror into that era. And he, next morning, I want to say he's got her in the bed, and the cop shows up really fast sheriff dumbass. And this dude though is kind of disgusting too. I'm glad we've come as far as we've come since 1980. It's good. We've made progress. If you
Yeah.
really look at it, we have made some progress, man, because these people are gross in a lot of ways. This guy specifically. And but the crazy thing is I don't think he was meant to be portrayed that way.
Dude, he lost 20 pounds to play this role.
He's supposed to be sympathetic.
Right.
But his actions, the sympathetic character in 1980 still acted like trash.
Right.
You know what I mean? So we've come some ways. That's good. He shows up, but not before they wake her up and let her know that she lets fiance, husband, one or the other, boyfriend, she's into older men. We learned that quickly. And I want to say the tombstone even lines up. If you look at his birth date, he was a lot older than apparently what she was, because I think she said she's like 25 or something like that. Not so she
Daddy
likes
issue. Ugh.
all the like. We could remake it now with Bill Belichick playing Farmer Vincent.
Ew.
Or Al Pacino. I didn't even know I could get her pregnant. I didn't even think my dick worked anymore. They tell her, hey, he fucking died. It was a hot mess. I buried him out in the cemetery. Cop shows up. Farmer Vincent, you can't just fucking do that. Well, at first he comes walking in and Ida gets him like Chris Farley would get you out of nowhere. Just a big bear hug, I bet. And she's all over him. And he's like, oh, Ida, why are you always messing around? Bruce, I think is his name. Sheriff Bruce, something or other. Ida and Vincent run a meat shop up front. What blew my mind more than anything was that in 1980, you could get a snack pack of jerky. There must have been 2 pounds of jerky in there, and he said $2.99.
Yeah. Wild.
I say you can barely get a stick of some good fresh game jerky for like $8. That's
You
one.
sure dick can't get some human jerky, dude, for no $2.99 anymore. That
No.
shit is pricey now.
So pricey. I bet you that the Sawyers would be out of business. Old Drayton Sawyer would be just like, the fucking tariffs and the cost of beans. You can't make a bowl of chili for less than $5. What are we gonna do?
The price of long steak.
Right. So she is gonna stay with them for a
Yeah,
little
of
while
course. Why wouldn't she?
because that's what you do.
She needs stability in her life. That's why.
She really does.
She just sees Ida as like a sister and Father Vincent as like I said Father Vincent. See, I already
Right, you're into it.
spoilers.
Farmer Vincent.
And I always want to say Farmer Ted, and that's wrong too.
That's very wrong. Ted sounds nothing like Vincent. Just remember Vincent like Vincent Vega. Only John Travolta.
I didn't like how deep your voice got. I didn't like it at all.
What? So Vincent is passing out meat treats. These little girls.
Me treats the little girls.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good
Right.
place to come back in.
They get shooed out of the store because the dad's all excited, like, I want all the beef jerky. And the mom's like, go outside and play. And they're like, all right, fucking yelling, these two little twins. And they decide to sneak into the barn. I love the set pieces in this thing. I loved everything is big. They must have just found it. I like to think they found it like that. Hey, we've got this kind of, rundown, hotel-y looking thing, whatever it was, with a couple outbuildings here and there, and we can fix them all up. And they go walking in, and we just see pig heads fucking everywhere and buckets of goop and slop and gross. And they go running away, and Ida's fucking with them. She can be kind of scary. That's when you see she's kind of scary, too. She'll be like, and then turn and be totally okay. Shortly thereafter, the food inspector, no, the cattle inspector shows up. And this guy's super dumpy and like, doing his thing, walks into the pen. Seems like he has a problem with Farmer Vincent out of the gate. Just doesn't like the guy, or I don't know why. But he looks at his pigs. He's like, "Oh, their feet are gross. Better take care of them." Blah blah. They fight, and he tears ass out of there. Skirt, gone. Farmer Vincent, we then see, has a secret garden.
Yeah, that's where he grows his real meat.
The good meat. I don't think it's where he grows it. It's where he tenderizes. It's got to be tender. But yeah, this as a child, as a young ghost, not even a pops ghostly, as a boy ghostly, freaked me the fuck out, dude.
Yeah.
Freaked me out. We see one, and we're going to learn why they do this, but we see one relatively soon. They're just bags. Actually, you know what? We don't see it until Inspector Guy comes back. He comes back snooping around at nighttime, later
Yeah.
on that night. He comes back, he's snooping around, climbs over the fence into the secret garden, and he sees these sacks, just rows of sacks, evenly placed, probably 2 feet apart, whatever shoulder width, maybe safer, 4 inches in between. And the one sack starts moving, fucking around a little bit, bag on his head. And he's like, "Oh no, that's not food. I've never seen lettuce do that. There's not carrots under there, are they?"
But it was the 80s. It could have been a Cabbage Patch Kid.
Dude, then they will kill you for those things. If he could have grown Cabbage Patch Kids, he'd have been rich as fuck in 1980.
No shit. But think about that idea. How scary would that be? Murderous Cabbage Patch Kids. They just like crawl out of the Cabbage Patch, dude, and kill people at night.
I'm kind of down for that. We just have to figure out a way to phrase it like lettuce lads. Like, so we don't get in trouble.
The lettuce lads.
The lettuce lads.
Terrifying, dude.
Yeah. Um, so he takes the bag off, and we see a human head with a scar tissue looking thing all around the neck right here. And it's choking almost. It's this guttural, fucking disgusting. And we're like, this is no good. Ping, right in the back of the head with a shovel. Farmer Vincent got him. He even lays a good little one-liner in there. I can't remember what it is. Another spot check or something, Bob. And now he's gonna fucking cut him. And what they do is they slit their vocal cords out so they can't talk, and then sew it back up. And this is what he's doing on the road. He's trapping these people. And the next trap I really fucking like, because I think it's absolutely ridiculous how he got all this shit out here, but I like it. He leaves them in the fucking ground with a bag on their head. Can't talk, can't nothing. We'll get to some more that he does to him later before you get pulled out of the ground. But for now, there's got to be a dozen people out there.
Yeah. With nobody to talk to because they're all just gurgly, gargly. Can't sleep because they're all gurgly, gargling, and crying and shit.
And you're just in the dirt.
You're just in the dirt. You can't yell out. You can't be like, "Shut the fuck up. I'm trying to sleep."
And you can't starve yourself because they force feed them. They want the food to be good. So they put and he justifies it. I treat my fucking cattle better than most people treat their animals. It's like, I don't know, dude. What you're doing seems not right. So now he's got Bob, the guy, is in the thing as well. Bruce is very interested. The sheriff is very interested in Terry. He likes her, but Terry is not interested. She's still trying to come around, and then slowly, "Well, would you like to stay here?" And Ida and Farmer Vincent are all excited about it. And like you said, they're brother and sister. They're all excited. "Stay with us. It'll be fucking glorious. They're going to have this person." He tells Ida she was sent from God. She's a blessing. Work your magic. And she's like, "All right, give me some frog lips and witch hazel and something else." And I'm like, what the fuck is this lady doing? She really is a mystery, and I love her.
It really is. Yeah, like we need to just have like a story about her, like
Just
a prequel
Ida.
just about
Yes.
Ida.
Yes, I would love it.
Oh,
She
2 movies we've come up with during this one. That's
just
great.
doing this one.
Yeah, we're gonna have to start producing some shit.
I really like the lettuce lads. You could do the kale kids.
Ooh, the Kale Kids. I like it, dude.
There could be a few of them. She's starting to turn around and decide she wants to stay there. Bruce is all into her. Farmer Vincent is just taking people left and right. He sets out two more bear traps. First, we get a van full of rock and rollers who are super cool because they're just like smoking weed, like fucking, yeah, fucking, let's hang out. Oh man. And it's great because there was another comedy line in there right before they crash. The one dude's like, "Oh, dude, no, I don't want any. I don't want to crash too early." And immediately, tires blow. Bang, there they go. And he has a gas that he puts over their mouths to knock them the fuck out. Takes all the bodies, buries them all. He's got a big auger on his tractor, digs a hole, puts them in like you would any other fucking tree or something like that. And it's really uncomfortable to think about. So we got a whole van full of missing rock and rollers. The cop doesn't seem to care about much up until something happens to him later on. He really is kind of worthless for the most part. And he seems to not know anything. So we got these guys all dead, and then later on we have a group or a couple that show up, some swingers, and I didn't understand how their ad would have got on the back of that anyway. But
Right.
they have this swinger pamphlet that says the hotel is one of the swinger spots, one of the best swinger spots in the United States. And this dude is like, yeah, baby, let's go. I wanna doing all this shit. And the woman is doing the same thing. Very excited. And this is where the movie still kind of fucks with me because she asks him, do you think they're into animals?
Right. And apparently there was a whole bestiality subplot that was cut out of the movie because the director requested it and to not be in there.
Oh, I mean, I guess
Thank
I can
goodness.
see why the studio did wanted to pass on that.
Right.
Again, you and I are vocal Kevin Smith fans.
Yes. Which,
You.
yeah, there was very prevalent in one of his movies, some bestiality.
No,
And I laughed at it.
I'm the stud. That's Kelly. Yes. But in this context, I don't think it would have worked very well.
No, I don't
And
want to
I'm
see
glad that.
Ida on either end of that.
Right. Because even when they are tying them up, because Ida and Farmer Vincent go to the room under the ruse of we're gonna do this swinger thing, and they show up in their overalls and stuff, and they're like, "Oh fucking," he's getting covered in oil, like, "Yeah, it feels so good. Do you think they're gonna fucking let me slide around like a slip and slide?" And she's like, "Ooh," with the smallest thing of lube. It's like a hand sanitizer, personal hand sanitizer size.
Diddy would be like, please.
You want to talk about real horror? That's fucking every day. The more I read, it's yeah. Anyway,
Don't party like a
let's
titty party.
let's not go down that rabbit hole. So they come in their overalls and bibs. They're like, "Ooh, we're playing farmers. You're gonna treat us like pigs and shit." And they have rope, and he's like, "Oh, they're into bondage, baby. Look at them." And the Farmer Vincent, and really it's just Farmer Vincent. Ida seems to understand this whole swinger life a little bit more, and she's cutting smut out of magazines at different times and things. She's very fucking unique creature.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what else to call her.
What is she to Farmer Vincent? Is she
His
his
sister.
sister?
Yeah.
That makes
Yeah.
it grosser.
They say it a few times that she is the sister. And he as they're tying them up, Farmer Vincent's just so excited about it because he's like, they're willingly letting us fucking do it. Even when he pulls out the tank with the knockout gas, he's like, oh, laughing gas, nitrous, baby, let's do it. This dude's fucking ready, gets knocked out. The woman quickly realizes, but it's way too late. She gets knocked out, put two more in the hole. They're down in the ground. Now, what really sets everything into motion, our third act, is Bruce and Terry go to the movies. They go out on a date. He's the sheriff. They go up to Lookout Point. He kicks everybody out of there. Whoop, whoop. This is me, the cops. You better get the fuck out of here. Gives her some binoculars. Has the station aide, who I don't know who he's talking to, or maybe the lady at the drive-in. He's talking to whoever works the drive-in. Hey, can you patch the dialogue into station whatever? And so they're sitting there with binoculars. He tries, gets an arm around her, and he's doing one of these and goes to touch her boob, and she's like, fuck, stop. I don't want to do that. And then he goes to kiss her, and then he's getting a little aggressive, and she slaps the shit out of him and is like, stop. And then he really gets aggressive and like jumps on her, and he's getting, and that's the thing, is this is supposed to be our sympathetic hero type character. I'm like, she slaps you once and says stop. That's where we got to be.
The 80s were a fucked up time, dude. We've come a long way, like you said.
Yeah, we've come a long way. He eventually, when she hears a call come over the police scanner, help me, because Farmer Vincent had set up a bunch of plywood cows that were really well made in the middle of the road. There must have been six.
I feel like Ida did that. Like, she seems like the one that has the talent.
But he was there though. He was hiding behind. Oh, she maybe painted it, and they actually
Yeah.
the cows. Okay, all right, I like that. To think she was behind the scenes.
Yeah.
All right, I dig that. He's, however, hiding behind with a gas mask on, and these two younger women are driving. Oh, fuck, we're going to go have some fun somewhere. And then, like, oh, stop. Fuck, cows in the road. And one woman hops out. She's like, oh, look at fucking, they're pretend. And then, like, get back here. And he jumps out from behind her and gets her with the gas. She's knocked out, goes to get her friend, but her friend gets away. And he's chasing her in the truck, fucking rear-ending her and stuff. And she's on a CB. We're coming out of the 70s. We're still really close to the 70s when everybody had a fucking CB radio. You talk to your buddies like, hey, Big John, you out there, bud? And that's what you did. She's yelling, help me, this guy's trying to kill me. That's the message that comes through the police scanner. And she's like, please stop. Somebody's trying to kill me. And then Bruce is on top of her and he's like, yo, I'm okay. I'm sorry. And I'm like, that's what it took, is for her to yell, somebody's trying to kill me, or you to perceive that she's yelling, somebody's trying to kill me. But it's at the thing. And then right at the same time, she's like, oh, and the movie's over. At the same time, they're like, all right, let's go. So they take off, chase some shit around for a while, gets stuck in the mud. He gets out of push, gets covered in mud and shit. And they go to the hotel, and Farmer Vincent and Ida are out in the chop house. I don't know what you call this place because it's a meat factory. There we go, meat factory. He I don't know what gives him the idea that he needs to go there, but he goes, and um they quickly run in the house and just put robes over top of their overalls, and they're like, oh, we're sleeping. They're like, oh, there's fucking police sirens. And like, I'm sure they gotta fucking, maybe they always smell like slaughterhouse, because
Yeah, for sure.
the whole
This whole movie has a smell, dude, that comes wafting in. But I feel like they only had to be as good as their protagonist. And Police Officer Bob wasn't the sharpest tool in the shed,
you
or
are
in the slaughter shed, if you will.
in the slaughter shed. That'd be a good name for a metal song, Slaughter Shed. So, or a band, metal band.
Slaughter shed, yeah. Dude.
So they convince him that he's like, but it was all over the fuck radio. And Ida, I believe, is the one who tells him, oh, it was some kids, fuck crank yankers. You ever see that show? Or fucking Jerky Boys? It's just like that.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh man, I'm covered in doo-doo now. And he looks to her, goes to like touch her hand, like, hey, I'm going home now. You want to fucking go home? And she's like, ew, get away. She's clearly giving this dude signals, and he will not let it go. She's clearly giving him signals. He won't let it go. So she goes to bed, and Farmer Vincent, calms her down a little bit. I don't think, really starting to figure things out yet because he doesn't fully give a crap until he learns they're getting married. That he's like, I started to do some detective work about all this shit that's been going on for the last 20 years. Like, you never fucking looked into it before. You never noticed. There's a ton of fucking accidents right here. Because this dude's bear trapping motherfuckers on the same curve because it launches them off the bend. It comes
Dead
around.
man's curve. Every town has one.
Every town has one. You haven't built fucking rail, even a rail to stop somebody from going down.
Wouldn't be dead man curve if it had a rail.
Right. That's railed man's curve.
This is
So,
the country. We ain't got no rails around our roads. We ain't a bunch of pussies.
oh, I've been in some. Well, I mean, being in Arizona, I've driven through a couple parts of Arizona and northern or Southern California where it's like, that's a steep fucking drop off right there, man.
Even here in Spokane, dude, we have like a windy ass road that has no rails, and it's enough for one car, dude, and two cars come flying through there all the time. And I'm just like, someone's gonna. How is nobody dead? There is a car at the bottom of that ravine too, so
Yeah.
someone can't fuck up. It is
I'm sure it's got to happen somewhere. But he or she wakes up the next day, and I think that's when she expresses her love to Farmer Vincent. He's like, "Oh, I've got to go plant my asparagus," and she's like, "Oh, really?" And she like leans up and gives him a kiss on the cheek.
Will you plant your asparagus in me?
Ah,
Oh no, 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 no! The Lord wouldn't like that, little missy.
and just like the real asparagus, if I do, it'll make your pee smell funny for a few days afterwards.
Ew.
So she gives him this weird kiss, and we start to notice that she's very interested. Ida doesn't like this shit.
Oh no.
And quickly she's in bed, and he's like, "Are you okay?" Sits down with her, and she's like, drops her top, boobies hanging out everywhere, and she's like, "Give me a kiss," and he kisses her for her. She's like, "Not like that." And we're like, "Oh, okay." And it's weird to look at because it's not something that is regularly portrayed in cinema, especially not in popcorn horror movies. The grindhouse kind of take your date for it's a roller coaster ride. It's nothing more than that. There's not a lot of depth to this. But she's an older dude. She had said that, and her first dead fiance was an older dude, very much her senior. So we'll leave it at that. He's like, "Got me fuck married." Drain, you're right. Before God, I can't even look at your boob. What are you, what are you doing?
That is an unmarried booby. I cannot see it. I physically can't see it.
And you just disappeared. Where did you go?
Where'd you go? Like a ghost, like a booby ghost.
She asks him, "Vincent, are you proposing to me?" And he's like, "Uh?"
Yeah,
And then
I don't
she's like, "I
understand
need
it.
some time alone."
He doesn't like ladies, I guess. Maybe he only liked animals.
We didn't get that subplot, so
Maybe he's into his sister.
we'll never truly know. That was probably another subplot. That's
Yeah.
really his mom. That's not even his sister. It's his mom who's a witch. And she's been keeping herself young and beautiful. Like, that's young and beautiful compared to her witch form.
Dude, I think that's Jack Nicholson's life.
I feel like you always be making me choke and shit saying something
Never drink in front of me.
ever. And the worst thing is we're not even face to face. So if I spit everything everywhere, it'll just be all over my nice stuff. It'll be all over you. Like, I wouldn't get the
You're
satisfaction.
so sweet, Pops.
At least you're soaked. So he leaves her be, but she never really thinks about it because 2 seconds later we're getting married, and I don't recall who tells the sheriff. Oh, it's Wolfman Jack. He comes out of church, and sheriff's sitting there reading a Hustler magazine, which, again, this dude is like obsessed with sex, and that is a product of the 80s, like the hyper sexualization of everything. And he's just sitting there reading smut magazines. And Wolfman Jack, Reverend Billy comes up, like, "Oh, damn preacher, you hear the good news?" And he's like, "Nah, what happened?" "Vincent's getting married. You didn't know tomorrow. Just book the church. 2 days, tomorrow, blah, blah, blah." And asks him, "Is that a smut magazine?" And he's like, "Oh, I took it from some fucking kids." So now you're fucking just deadly sinning across the board. You're lying, you're smutting, you're doing all this shit. And Wolfman Jack takes the porno magazine and puts it in his bag, and he's all excited about the fact that he's got a porno magazine now. Very prevalent business. As soon as people started printing magazines, there was porno magazines. So he's pissed. The sheriff is like, "No, that's my girl." After she clearly told him many times, he tears ass out there to the motel, busts through the door. "Get out of my way, Ida. I know I ain't got a warrant and shit, but I'm coming in." And he's talking to her like, "What are they doing? They fucking drug you or something? Why are you acting this crazy?" And she is convincing. She's like, "It's not that. I really just want to be with this dude. You got to understand me." And he does not understand her. I don't know how this guy became a sheriff, let alone a cop, regular cop, beat cop, traffic cop, let alone a fucking sheriff. But maybe that's how he's been getting away with this shit for so long.
Maybe it's like Texas Chainsaw. He just found a dead sheriff and he put his fucking uniform on.
Maybe that is the prequel movie as little tiny Bruce finds Farmer Vincent doing some fucked up shit. He takes him under his wing, does the hypnosis thing, plants him as the sheriff in town so that he can continue to fuck. I think
Yeah,
that's
you
the movie, dude.
got
I think
something, dude.
that's something. We're about right due 45 years. Wait a couple years to the 50th anniversary and be like, "Oh, Motel Hell, the prequel story you never wanted, but it's great." Oh, he's all upset and goes back out to the accident site from where Terry and the motorcycle originally went over, her and her fiance. He goes out there. Why they didn't clean that shit up, I don't know. Maybe it's too far down. Maybe it was going to be a couple days. I don't know how long she had been there. It didn't seem like long before she was just like, "I want to get married."
The whole timeline is like Alien versus Predator. It just doesn't feel right to me.
It just doesn't feel right. And he discovers the way the tire was cracked, that there was something in the tire, or the way the tire was smacked around, it looks like a fucking claw marks. He figures some cop shit out. Apparently he's a detective underneath all that somewhere. Puts some other pieces together, tries one more time, goes back out to the hotel, bus in, and she's in the bath, and he just breaks the fucking door down. That you don't do that.
He's like, "Get out of there. You're washing the good stink away."
Rose, see how clean you are.
Ugh.
He is like, "I fucking love this guy. You need to stop." And he's like, "I don't care. You're not right. I gotta take you out of here. I'm your knight in shining armor." And then Vincent shows up behind him like, "Doo doo doo doo." And you just see this shadowy fucking figure coming to focus. And he's tall. Rory Calhoun's a tall dude. And he's got a fucking shotgun right to this cop's back. And he's like, "If there wasn't a lady present, you'd probably be dead." And that's, maybe think about it. That relationship could have been started all them years ago. And he's still somehow, he's the Leatherface. He's the puppet, the dog. Go do your job, dog. Go do your thing, and we'll handle the big boy business. But he's got a shotgun to his back, walks him around his fucking house. "Get the fuck out of here." And he's like, "I'm not leaving." And then he points the shotgun at him and starts shooting holes in his own home. Just fucking. And it's a nice place. He's, he's blasting holes all through the fucking walls. And the cop runs out. Now, to be fair, he did not have a warrant. He couldn't have been in there, but I think there is some kind of deeper relationship there that needs to be uncovered. She is he is debating. Oh, we forgot about the tubes though. When they're floating out in the water. because Ida takes her tubing. And that's scary though, too. Somebody that can go from pretending to be happy to super fucked up nefarious at the blink
Yeah,
of an
that
eye.
scares me a lot. That's what I feel like
Sociopath. That
every person that's ever gone down to your basement with you, dude, to watch a movie has
which
been
is
like, oh, he's such a happy guy until you get down to his basement and he pulls out Motel Hell and he gets real creepy with you. He
right.
like starts rubbing on your thigh and he's like, let's watch a movie.
I have never uninvited rubbed on someone's thigh during a movie.
Uninvited.
Right.
I don't know. What is
That
Pops Ghostly's version of consent?
Oh, it's got to be. I'm telling you. So we'll break really quick, serious here for a second. I was 3 years, my last 3 years in the Navy. For two of them, maybe a year and a half, I was a savvy, which was a sexual assault victim intervention. And that means you carried a phone once a month. And if the phone rang, you picked it up and you proceeded, whether it was help somebody get to the hospital. First, would you prefer a woman? Da da da, get to the rape kits, do all these things, transportation, all this different stuff. And I learned in that in the process of training and all of that stuff that it's true that consent can be withheld like at any time, like even mid, like yeah, I'm down to have sex with you, but I ain't down with you putting shit in my butt.
Right.
Like that's different consent and it can be taken away. Like you'd be like, yo, I was okay with that for a second, but now it's not okay. You know what I mean? Fucking stop. And that's where consent is like an always thing. It's not a, okay, I agree to whatever the fuck you want to do. Now, there's people in those kind of sub-dom relationships where they do have those agreements. That's a different thing. But, for the most part, how I think general consent would be seen is and I think even that, there's certain rules they make and shit to make sure that stuff doesn't get too out of control and stuff like that. But consent can be taken away at any time. So, all right, now we can go back to the movie, back to the more the ridiculousness.
That me a lot. Your
What's
story,
that?
your story about consent, like up to butt stuff, and then like my mind is spiraling out, dude, and I'm like so far out there now. I don't know that I can come back to the movie.
I'll bring you back. Come back
All right,
with me to
all right,
Farmer Vincent. Come back
all
to our crazy detective because we're getting close to the end, which I think is the highlight of this thing, which was
That's what I say to my wife every night. We're getting close to the end, and I think this is the highlight of the whole thing.
this is the end.
Here comes the end.
The commercial break isn't even over yet. What the fuck are you talking about? He he does his detective thing, starts to figure this stuff out, tells her stuff might not be good. And now the bodies, we watch the process. First, we watch the process of the bodies being taken out of the ground where he does this. I want those lights, those fucking hypno lights that he puts in front of him, which is this whole thing is fucking strange, man. Different colored lights and like, listen to the sound of my voice. Just relax. We're gonna blast off into space. I'm like, what the fuck is he talking about? And they all are, and then they start watching it. And he's like, oh, they're going fucking astral projection or some shit. I'm like, this is nuts. Grabs the tractor, puts essentially nooses around all of their necks or some kind of a slip knot around their necks and hooks it to the tractor and then drags all of them out. And then they get drug into the barn, which kind of like the secret garden, there's a secret room in the barn. There's the normal barn with all the pig guts, the normal slaughter shed with all the pig guts everywhere and heads and stuff. Thing is decorated, fucking cool. There's blood all over the place. And then there's a secret door back there that she tried to get into the one time. And she's like, oh, well, me and Vincent are getting married. And he told me he's going to take me how to make secret sausage. And she's like, oh, yes, let's go tubing. And so she takes her out to the lake. She's like, I can't swim very well. And they're having fun. Ida's in her tube, Terry's in hers. Ida, they're splashing each other, and Ida's smiling. And all of a sudden, she looks like fucking mom from the Goonies. I don't remember her name, but I love her. But she looks like that, very angry and shit. And she's got a box cutter in her pocket and slices her own tube. And she's like, ah, after she told Terry she can't swim. I can't help it. Help. And as soon as she gets over to Terry, she starts pushing her down under the water because Terry said she couldn't swim well either. But Vincent did show up at that point and save the day. Fast forward a little bit, we're going to do the wedding thing. And now it all comes to a head out at the slaughterhouse where we get really such a cool fucking image. There are a few horror images that I think are underappreciated, and I believe this is one of them. Is Farmer Vincent with a full size pig head on his head with a chainsaw, and he's gonna fight first. Well, first they have to fight. The people get out of the ground. They all start fucking coming out, and they're like, "Brah." And Ida sees 9 of them coming, and she's like, "Yeah." That really reinforces this is a bad bitch, dude. She's like, oh, come to mommy, and just starts throwing them all over the porch. There they go. Like, and here we see all of them that we've seen throughout, all the way back to Terry's fiance. We got the swinging couple, the whole rock band. It's cool that they all looked so radically different. You know what I mean? It was smart to do that so that the costumes could separate who is who and this and that. She's chucking them all over the place. They do gang up on her, and then we cut to Farmer Vincent has Terry tied up because she denied the family recipe, the secret sauce, grandma's secret recipe of human meat. And he is like, all right, gotta kill you. Sorry. They're, if anything, I'll eat you. I'll sell you to some people. They'll eat you. It'll be okay. So he ties her up after she says no, and he's got a whole spiel about, oh, fucking, it's God's will, and everything is edible, and it's a sacred thing. After you're seeing Ida's gross ass got a human being in a big pot, soaping them up, pulling their arm out, washing their armpit, and it's disgusting. She's tied to the meat cutter that's got a conveyor attached to it, not the handheld cutter, but the bigger one. Bruce shows up. He's like, I gotta fucking save you. And that's when we see Farmer Vincent with the pig head and the chainsaw. I did read earlier today, I don't know how true this is, that this is a very, very valuable cover of Fangoria because they ran that image and it got pulled. They were like, it's too much. You can't run that on so there's not too many of them and shit like that. It's an early Fangoria issue. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool though. But it's really gnarly. And what makes it even more intense is the laughter the whole time.
Yeah.
It's 80 yard over top of it for sure. There's no way you're going to hear my man laughing. I don't think so anyway, underneath all that shit. Or maybe it wasn't even Rory Calhoun. It was a stunt man, and Rory was just doing the voice work. However, they're fighting in this really industrial yet wooden, I don't know, how old barn outfitted to be a slaughterhouse of human beings. Best way to describe it. And it's cool. They got chainsaws. He gets one, fuck, kicks him. Oof. Oh, now we're both going. They go back and forth for a while until Vincent hits, I want to say he hits the wood and then he gets his own chainsaw jabbed into his side. Very much Texas Chainsaw Massacre with Leatherface falling over and chainsaw hitting his leg at the end. But he's stuck there for a minute, like, not a minute, a long time, because Bruce goes and saves Terry, unties her. They have a whole conversation and shit. And then they go back out and he's still like, oh, my side hurts. And the chainsaw is full running. Bruce goes over, turns the chainsaw off, and then they have this, I don't know, fucking come together moment where they all feel tender. Like
Yeah.
this guy just had a fucking pig head on. You know what I mean?
I
This
get
is
it.
this is a scary dude, and even she's like, "Oh, poor Vincent, I loved you," and he's like, "Oh, just don't give out the meat recipes and shit. I'll see you in space." And that's the end of him, dude. And he fades off. they go out to the secret garden and find Ida stuck head first in the fucking ground. So the monsters got her and blasted her face right down in there, and we get these crazy like twitching underneath there at the end. And then I want to say, jump back to the hotel sign, and the O explodes in like slow motion. Then it's like roll the credits, dude. Motel Hell, an hour and 44-minute welcome stay. It's a welcome stay.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
So, how many? Ooh, this is a tough one. How many oiled swingers
Look,
do you give?
out of all the things you could have picked.
I knew that was the right one for you, Duke Spooky. Of all the oiled swingers, buried oiled swingers, how many do you give Motel Hell?
I'm gonna give it a 3.5, 3.75. I'll give it a 3.75. I think that this is
Insane.
a solid horror flick. I think that it definitely um, has comparisons to Texas Chainsaw, but I think that it's more fun. I think it was a missed opportunity to not like talk about the comedy up front. I think people were ready for it back then.
Yeah,
So
maybe
I don't
yeah,
know.
because Vietnam, that whole era, the post-Vietnam horror era, it was depressing.
Yeah, yeah.
You had shit like The Hills Have Eyes and fucking um Deranged really is upsetting. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre is really upsetting.
Yeah.
I Spit on Your Grave and shit like that, was starting to come around. Last House on the Left. The not fun movies. You
No, yeah,
don't.
real hardcore shit. Straw Dogs.
Ooh, Straw Dogs. I like Straw Dogs. Was that Dustin Hoffman?
Yeah,
Yeah, that was a good one. That's weird that you scored that way though, because leading up to this, after I watched it, 375 immediately came to my mind. It was the
really.
first score that came up. I agree with you on so many things, and there's even some things I think that I've expanded upon over the course of this episode that I really enjoy. If I was gonna give another human being, they were like, give me 10 movies from the 80s that I should check out. I
Yeah,
This would be a contender.
yeah.
Horror movies, you know what I mean? This would be a contender, but we even named so many just from the same year. It's like you're sitting with The Shining and with Friday the 13th, which nobody knew at this time. Nobody understood that it was going to be like fucking explode and do what it did. But there were a lot of great horror movies in the 80s. But this one stands right up there, I feel, with the best of them as just a solid representation of what 80s horror cinema was. This was
Absolutely.
it was
And it,
at
these movies, dude, like we talked about, like you can smell it. All the textures and shit in the sets that weren't great, they were like you said, they're like they found a fucking old barn and they put a bunch of pig heads and slot blood all over the place. But it just creates this like realistic thing to it that movies today don't have. They're overly developed with too much set dressing and shit. But back then they just were throwing things out there, just being like, yeah, this looks good, you know. But it I don't know, it created more of a realness, more of an edge to it that just hangs with it. And you can feel it after all these years, you know. Like I didn't watch this in the 80s, so I have no nostalgia for it.
right.
It- but it feels like one of those cool old horror movie gems that like you would rent on a Friday night, you know, and your friends would just be like, that was fucking crazy, dude. What are we watching?
It's up there with a lot of the VHS kind of cool, like you bring that shit home and it's like, yo, this is different.
Yeah.
This is something like you ain't seen before. And I believe it stands well as something you haven't seen before. I don't know if you could remake it. I don't think it would work outside of 1980, maybe up to like 1984, 5 this would work. But
Right.
outside of that, the premise and the wildness of I don't want to say stupidity of the characters, but you know what I mean, of
Yeah.
the major players, I think will go kind of what the fuck. people might
Yeah.
not appreciate it. Now, a cool, don't even call it Motel Hell, call it Motel Hello, and do a prequel that looks at young Vincent and Ida when they take over the motel. You've got these two. Okay, we need, or maybe even you have a flashback at the beginning to Grandma when she first introduces Vincent, because he mentions at some point that she was the one who had the recipe and taught him when he was a little boy. Fuck, gross. That scares me. Like matriarchs like that, like terrifying matriarchs or patriarchs. But I feel like a matriarch because you can almost get away with more because you could put on the softer side a little heavier
Right.
and use that in some ways. But we've
Dude,
seen
those
some,
Depression era grandmas, they were scary, man.
yeah,
They went
dude,
through some shit, dude. They learned how
right.
to eat dirt. They learned how to serve it up to the kids.
Here's your wet dirt. So maybe there is a prequel movie there. There might be. That could be
I think
coming.
there's a sequel, dude. Blumhouse, Hotel Hell.
Hotel Hell. Nice. It's getting reopened by a bunch of
It's Ida and Vincent's kid.
somebody inherited it. They would have to inherited it from somewhere. Oh, I
There you
just
go.
inherited this old hotel, and then cut in the trailer like somebody like blowing off a sign, and it's like Farmer Vincent smoked sausages. Hey, isn't that your grandpa? And you see, and then like Ida's all old as fuck, looking through a hole in the wall.
Totally, dude.
Anyway, that is a movie. Where did you watch it? I own it, so I'm not sure. Where I think it's on like Tubi and maybe Pluto or
Yeah,
something. It's
it
free.
was on Tubi. Yeah.
Free to stream. Yep. So you don't even have to pay for a streaming service to get this one. If you have access to the internet, you can check out Motel Hell from 1980. I highly recommend it. It's fun. Let us know what you think, and yeah, have a good time with it. So we're gonna move on from the macabre side of the show and do a pause for the living. And this is the segment of the show, if you are new, where we bring a well-being element to everything that life throws at us, the chaos and what we can little things we might be able to do, or just to talk through problems, issues, things like that. It's a something we're gonna keep doing. It's just what we do, and I've got some cool feedback from people. They're like, I really like that fuck part of the show. I'm like, awesome. I was hoping for that. I was hoping people were like, damn, that's the shit part, the crappy part. Um, so this week, and I'm going to try to do this moving forward. I believe I mentioned this before, but I don't know if I have. But I'm going to try and do this moving forward, is try and find something in the movie, something that can be pulled directly from the movie to talk about a little bit. And this week it is absolutely Sheriff Bruce. And what I see with Sheriff Bruce is what I see in a lot of our culture and our society and in all of us. We have a really hard time letting go.
Hmm.
We want to hold on to things tightly. And unfortunately, we're in an ever changing environment.
Yeah.
It changes all the time, from morning to fucking night to season. Everything is in a constant state of change. And we don't like that. Now, Bruce's thing, I think, went a little bit deeper.
Yeah. He was a little bit.
Bruce was attached to an idea that wasn't lined up with reality.
Yeah. He was outside of his lane.
That's a dangerous game to play.
So bad. Stay in your lane, people.
That's a dangerous game to play. But it's not just, intense relationship ideas like that. There there is a I've picked it up in the business world, but I find it applicable to anything. I don't even know what you call it, but the term is sunk cost bias. I believe I've probably brought it up on this show before. You know what I mean? Um, we have a harder time letting go of something that we feel we've invested time or money into. And the more time, even if it's a shitty thing running itself straight into the ground, which has been demonstrated across history many, many times by both military leaders, corporate leaders, people that can't give up the ego part. And they're like, no, my idea is good. It's the right idea, even though it's clearly collapsing, falling down. It's fucking Rome. It's gonna be us at some point. I feel like it's collapsing down around, and it's like, no, the idea is so fucking good. And for Bruce, his idea was, oh, I wanna this relationship is everything I've dreamed of, everything I've hoped for. And so his idea that he was holding on to is that she did love him. And maybe if he tried harder, she would love him more. Not thinking that maybe she just likes older men. Sorry,
Yeah.
Bruce. That's okay. However, that holding on took him far in some aggressive ways. Our holding on can do the same thing in our lives, whatever the idea is. And the problem is, with something you were raised with, an idea you were raised with, that's a lot of sunk cost bias. That's a
Absolutely.
lot of invested time to where, even in the face of evidence, if you say no, because you don't want to lose the sunk cost bias, you don't want to lose all that identity or energy or everything invested into this thing, then it starts to do weird shit to us. It'll start making you pull at straws that don't fucking exist to try and defend your position. You get in this defensive mode more often than not. Whereas if we can just say, yeah, and it's hard. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that it's not hard. It is very hard to let things go because we are creatures that like consistency. We like lack of change. But when you can let those things go, when we can release some of those big things and say, you know what? It was fucking wrong, man. I don't know what else to say. And
We
just
people don't like being wrong.
let it.
It
That's
feels
a
bad
big,
and we don't want to feel bad. And so we'll double down on something we know is wrong
you're
just to be not wrong.
right. You're right. That's a great observation, Duke Spooky. They, I really like that name, dude. I really like that name.
Thank you.
They,
Thank you, Mom.
right. And they portray that in this movie, I think, in a couple different ways. Whereas Farmer Vincent is held on to this old idea of cooking people meat. Bruce is held on to this idea of Terry being his kind of savior in a way. The relationship will be my freedom if I have that. You're a pretty girl. And
Right.
and the thing that gets me though is that he's not only creepy with her, but then he's just sitting around reading smut magazines. Like, does he really want her, or is he just after the lust?
Yeah.
And that's something that I believe could let go as a society, and it's a hard thing to let go. Is that lust doesn't equate to love. They're very two different things, and people figure that out on their own a lot of the time. But letting stuff go, like Elsa said, let it go.
Let it go. I never liked the cold anyway.
It never
Or I never
bothered.
minded the cold.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Actually, I think it's the cold never bothered me anyway. Dun, 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 dun. It's weird. You know what though? It's not weird because I was just talking to Shane about it a night or two ago, and I was reflecting on theater experiences and taking my oldest daughter to see Frozen. That sequence gave me fucking chills in the theater. It was on a
Right.
big screen, middle of the day. Her running up that hill, just shooting fucking snow going everywhere and ice and building castles. And then you get that drop in just her voice. Let it go. Fucking magical. Magical.
I missed out on that one. My daughter was like, fuck Frozen from the very beginning.
Yeah. Madison was the perfect right age, and the Alvin and the Chipmunks. I remember she was really into the Alvin and the Chipmunks, which I was mad because I thought Jason Lee was great. And I actually didn't really mind any of the Chipmunk movies. I'm just
No,
like,
they're actually better than some of the other stuff. I
Yeah,
didn't have kids when I saw those. I was a grown ass man, like watching
so
those
was
by
I.
myself.
Yeah, and she was just running around singing the songs and stuff. But letting go of things that are unhealthy. I think we know what's unhealthy. If you look
Dude,
inside
we
of,
know, but we don't want it because the unhealthy stuff's the stuff that feels good, tastes good, smells good,
yeah, and not
makes us
even
feel
just,
good.
not, even consumption of anything, playing video games. I'm someone who loves to play video games. I've always enjoyed the medium. I've been playing this thing called the Midnight Walk, which is a stop motion. They made the whole thing stop
Oh,
motion anime. It's really fucking cool. But there's a point where I think even I get where I'm playing, and if it gets too long, I just feel this like unease in my body.
totally.
Something's telling me like this is becoming too much.
Yeah.
And the identity stuff that we hold on to for a really long time, that can be even tougher. That's the hardest shit to let go and say, yeah, that's not me. I- and that's tough, man, but important. It's very important. Don't be a Sheriff Bruce.
Don't be a Sheriff Bruce.
Don't be a Farmer Vincent.
No, don't be an Ida, as a matter of fact.
Ida for president. Yeah. Did you have anything you wanted to add to the subject of the dangers of not letting go?
This might be a little off, but yes, you know, something that I see a lot is dudes hanging on way too tight when a woman wants to be done with them. And they can't fucking let that go. And a lot of times it is because of her attractiveness. It's what it says about the dude as a person. And so many women are just like, ew, gross, get away from me. And they just keep trying, like
Or
Sheriff Bob or Bruce,
yeah,
Sheriff Bruce, it's that thing. And it's like, dude, what are you doing? You're making an asshole out of yourself and fucking up this woman's life who, if somebody doesn't want to be with you, let them go.
yeah.
Don't fight it and just keep trying to make things better because it just gets grosser and worse.
I think the belief is that the situation will result in the happiness regardless of how you attain the situation.
And it never does.
Mm-mm.
Never. No.
Mm-mm. And
Real love is easy.
it is, yeah, I think real
I
love
didn't say a
is
relationship.
right, right.
Real love is easy. The relationship takes work.
Yeah, relationships do take work. And I think love is, for me, I'm trying to get to a point where love is unconditional. And by that, it appears we live in a society where kindness and love are questioned.
Yeah, because everybody's been spited. And so they don't trust kindness and love.
And it kills me. And I'm trying to get to that place where people believe it because I can see it sometimes on their face. They're like taking them back.
Yeah.
Why are you
What
being
do
so
you want
nice?
from me? Why are you doing this to
Right.
me?
They're like,
Yeah.
I'm not. You're another person floating around on this rock, and there's no reason that
You want to give hugs to strangers, but they don't want them.
I wanted a shirt that said free hugs upon request. So that way it's
There you go.
yeah,
Back to consent. Yeah.
consent, dude. You have to actually ask. But I bet you with that shirt on, if I put the biggest, dumbest smile on my face, some people would get some hugs. Especially if I had my cane out, very non-threatening.
Right. But if
Unless
with
I
a big dumb
spun it.
smile on your face. Now, if you're spinning a cane on the street, that's not going to get people to feel like they can come up and hug you.
They might, you never know. No, but yeah, we need to hug each other more and fucking just say hi. Like you don't have to acts of kindness don't have to be humongous, big, expensive in any way, your time or your money or anything like that. An act of kindness can just be saying hello,
If
opening
you
the
say
door.
hello to a person on the street in Spokane, they look at you like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
That's not just Spokane. That's a lot of places. A lot of places. Not everywhere, but a lot of places. But again, I can't live in the fear that, oh no, somebody might not respond to me. I'm just like, fuck, have a great day. You know, it's not everyone. I'm not just walking around like, hi, 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 fucking hi, hi, hi. But if I'm interacting with someone, you know, if I see somebody on the street, you know, walking across, I'll be like, oh, go ahead, you first, you know, in an elevator, something like that. Just little acts of kindness. Kindness doesn't, and love and kindness can be almost the same thing. Love is not, it's very multi-layered. I don't even think you can articulate. People have been trying for fucking poets have been trying for years. Authors have been trying for eternity, however fucking long since people have been writing things, trying to find the words to express what love feels like because it's such a complex, big thing. But it's not just a relationship love. And I think a lot of times people see that as the only kind of love. That's the real love. And then everything else is just kind of on the side.
Yeah.
Whereas you're tapping into, I feel we can tap into the bigger universal surplus of love that just kind of exists and then just kind of give it freely, just kind of pass it out. But you got to be a little bit empty in order to fill up with that shit and then give it away, I guess. So anyway, I don't know. Sometimes I get to, and then I'm thinking as I'm talking, I'm like, oh, that could be a thing that, but I don't want to sit here and think through all of my shit while we're recording. But I think love is something bigger that, you know, can be expressed at different degrees.
Mhm.
It's like anything. Like you can swim very slowly. You can just fucking float, but you're still in the water. You're still doing something in the water. You can kind of backpedal a little bit, or you can swim very aggressively. Maybe love is like the same shit. Like you can do it a little bit, you can float a little bit, but you're still in it, and you can still fucking splash somebody with it a little bit. But if you want to be quick with it, you can do it any way you want it. Let go of shit.
Yeah.
And that's it. What do we have next week?
Next week, speaking of swimming a little bit, we're doing a little movie called The Reef.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah.
I was just sharing with my youngest how I love a good shark movie, and I know you do
I
too.
love a bad shark movie. I would love seeing sharks swim through stores and shit.
That's the best. Stores that what was that bait? I think that was called the good one
Yeah, I
from
think so.
Australia when they were in the department store. I
Yeah.
like the sci-fi shit. Christmas Jaws, I think maybe I watched where the shark
Fucking love some Christmas shots.
he had lights strung off of him and somehow was powering them, and you could see the string of lights, and that's how you knew Christmas Jaws was coming. So The Reef, I believe, is streaming on Tubi or possibly Pluto, one of those two destinations where you can stream stuff for free. It's a super fun shark flick, big sharks. It's rad. We're gonna have a good time with it. So until next time, I've been Pops Ghostly.
I'm Duke Spooky.
Do ractum, ractum,
I racked him, damn near killed him.
Do a random act of kindness, people.
No! No! No!
Extravagant.